Hello students, welcome to Saurabh Sir's classes. Today we are going to discuss about geology, and our first topic in this video will be mass movements. So we will discuss what is mass movements and the reasons behind mass movements, types of mass movements and so on. So first, what is mass movements? As suggested by its name, mass movement. So basically the mass here defines the earth's mass, the crust, the surface of the earth and so on. So the movement of these type of stuffs is known as mass movements, and the reasons behind this mass movement. So let us state few reasons behind this mass movement. So the very first reason, the most effective, the most responsible reason is gravity. The earth's gravitational force, it is the main force responsible for mass movement. So basically, due to the gravitational force, there is a greater amount of mass movements in the earth's crust and on the surface also. So the second most important the second most important reason due to these mass movements takes place is water. Whereas water does not directly play any role, but it has a very vital role. And how does water affect, how does water help in these mass movements? We have quite a long list of reasons why water helps. So let us discuss few of them here, where the first one is when there is a rainfall or snow melting. Rainfall or snow melts. What happens is, due to this rainfall and snow melts, there is an increase in the amount of water level. And due to this, what happens is, water gets inside the soil, the empty pores inside the soil where air is filled up. Water replaces the air and it seeps inside the soil. So seeps inside the soil and replaces air between them. And as you know, water is much heavier than air. So what happens is, weight of the soil increases. Weight of the soil increases because here the water has replaced the air. Water has replaced the air, and as you know, water is much heavier than air. So the weight of the soil also increases, and due to the increase in the weight of the soil, this movement occurs. That is the sliding of the soil or the landscapes or anything. But these mass movements takes place due to this reason. And we have further more reasons, including water. How water helps, because as I said, water has a very large number of lists, very large number of reasons due to which it affects the mass movements. The second remains the saturation, and due to this saturation, the liquefaction occurs, the vibrations in the soil occurs. Vibration in the soil occurs, and due to this, there is greater vibrations below and on the surface of the earth, and due to which this mass movement takes place. So saturation is a very vital reason for this mass movements. Third, we have water. As you know, it reduces the friction between the surfaces. Water reduces the friction, the frictional force, the soil's frictional force is reduced due to this water, which reduces the sliding friction and it makes the sliding surface more supportable for the mass movements. So here we discussed three main reasons why water plays a vital role in mass movements. So we had gravitational force, a very main force for mass movement. Then we have water, which does not directly play any role but has many vital roles. So these are the reasons why mass movements takes place generally. So now let's move on to the types of mass movement, or we can say the process of mass movements. So first, mass movement. So let me write here mass movements. So basically, what are mass movements? They are basically landslides. And again, as suggested by the name, you can see here land and you can see here slides. So this says that land is sliding, and this is basically the main definition of mass movement, that is the land on the earth or inside the earth is sliding over or down, or means the land or the crust of the earth is sliding downwards, and we call it as mass movements. When we have many different types of mass movements, many different processes of mass movements, but we will discuss few of them here. So the very first type, the very first process of mass movement is known as slope failures. So slope failures becomes the very first type of mass movements. And what happens in slope failures? It is a sudden failure of the slope. You can see here failure, slope failure. So it is failure of slope, and it is a sudden failure of slope due to the, as I said, due to the vibration or the this weight of the soil. So due to these facts, there is a failure in the slope, and the slope slides downwards. The slope slides or rolls or falls. So these are few different terms, few different types of movements such as slides, rolls or falls. Slope falls downwards, and we call it as slope failures because these are sudden, and humans have no hand in this, humans have no control over this, because these occurs due to nature's call. So basically slope failures becomes the only reason, the only process in which humans have no role. Secondly, we have sediment flows. Here we have sediment flows. So this becomes the second most important process in mass movements, which means the particles, the matters, the earthen particles flows down, but this time there is no sudden failure, but this time they flow down with mixing. Okay, so this will be flows down mixing with either water or air. So the lighter particles, the lighter weight particles on the surface of the earth, we have a we have a large amount of particles on the surface of the earth, and these particles generally mix with water or air and flows downwards. So they basically tend to flow downwards mixing with the water and air, and due to these the mass movements occurs. So we have two main reasons, two main processes. One is a sudden failure, a sudden slope failure, and the second one is flowing by mixing with water or air. So basically these are the two main reasons due to which these mass movements takes place. So basically this was the main data about mass movement, the main explanation regarding the mass movements. What are mass movements, how are they occurred, and what are the main processes. So I will like to end this video here. You will find some more topics based on geology discussed in our further videos.